around 11 a.m. with a topic of the week. You know, this stems from our own self-love journey, our own self-love exodus. So I'm Quinn, and this is Hallie. Hi. Check more of us out on selfloveexodus.com. You can learn about our workshops and our weekly meditations. So today we are going to be talking about the internal versus external investment. And when we say investment, it means time investment, money investment, energy investment, right? It's what you put into, right? Mm-hmm. It's like what you're doing. Everything that you're doing is an investment, mm-hmm. basically, right? So Hallie had an experience where she experienced both, and it feels different with both. So before we begin, is there anything that you want to say about the internal versus external investment, and then going into your experience, like literally yesterday?
Yeah, let's see what I want to say about this.
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking, like, so what's the difference, right, between internal and external? I mean, we understand that, but external is like that which is outside of us, or even like on our bodies.
Yeah.
Like the external things that we don't necessarily see, mm-hmm. if we're not looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
So that's external for the body, and then there's external for the space and environment and all of that as well. And then internal is like anything that you experience as a felt sense within you. So that's physical, emotional, spiritual. So
yeah.
So I've just been really in this conversation with myself, because I have to go shut.
Yeah, I know. I hear it too.
1 second. Sorry.
1 second. But yeah, really think about that. Like, what would be an external investment for you? What would be an internal investment for you, right? And how does it feel when you invest in external and internal? Yeah.
Well, the thing I think about external investment, like you hear all the time of the people who have everything, right? They have all the money in the world. They have their relationship. They travel the world. They got it all. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I was going to say they're physically, attractive and all
that. They're famous. Like the world loves them. They're adored. But inside, they're empty. Like spiritually, they're void and depressed and suicidal and all of these things. Mm-hmm. And so, it doesn't take much to understand that, like, really when it comes down to who we are, how we feel, how we show up for others, how we radiate, like our true beauty has the most to do with our internal investment. And that's not to say that like external investment is bad,
Mm-hmm.
But if that's where the focus is, it's never going to bring a sense of true fulfillment.
Mm.
It's like it'll bring like a short-term like burst of like, ooh, I'm excited. I just got new shoes.
Yeah, look at me now. Look at me.
I'm excited.
Yay.
I just got my hair did.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I just got a new outfit. I'm excited. I just got a new painting for my house or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that lasts for a little bit, and then it wears off pretty quickly. But the internal stuff,
mm-hmm.
those are the investments that change our frequency, that change our vibe, that change our relationships, that change our experience of peace and well-being in any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I was telling Quinn that lately I've been in like an external investment. I've been doing a lot of external investing.
Yeah.
And
like with your space,
with
your hair.
I just got my hair did yesterday, and like been like revamping my wardrobe and stuff like that. I got some money from my car that got totaled, so I was like, okay, like what things do I want to invest in? And I was finding with each thing that I invested in, I was just like, like, okay, cool, fun, exciting when I press like the buy and I'm like, ooh, I get a new thing.
Yeah, totally.
And then it gets here and I'm like, okay, whatevs, And so I caught that in myself and realized that there was a shift that was wanting to happen for me, which is I wanted more inner investment. I wanted to like change the direction of where I was investing my time, resources, energy. And not that I don't inner invest, I inner invest quite often. But I was definitely like craving that to be the more of the investment, and then the external just like sprinkle here and there, you know. So the core is the inner.
Yeah. So major differences. It's interesting because you have been investing in your internal, so that when you experience the maybe a little bit a day where it's heavier on the external, you feel like, oh, right. I love the expression that you made just there, because that's how you felt. Like, oh, okay, that wasn't like, it wasn't longer lasting. It was just very temporary. You're like, wait a minute, it doesn't feel as good because it's not as fulfilling.
It's not as fulfilling.
Because adding to your outside, yeah,
you know. But it's just like, it's not like, it doesn't like really like reach the heart.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't reach the heart. Yeah, I love that, and I love how you covered kind of like what we mostly see on the outside of people, the social media, the television, the YouTube, right? Like, oh gosh, this is what I wish for the world. I wish for the world to, how would I say it, find out what it feels like when you invest in your internal consistently, because then you will be able to see through the external beauty, the external excitement, the external wants. You will see through that, and you're like, you know what? It doesn't matter as much. It doesn't matter as much. I know that from last week or a couple times now recently, in the past couple of weeks, you know, we've been talking about this experience of perspectives and how one shitty thing can actually be a blessing. Like with your car, you're like, I'm on foot, I'm appreciating things more. Like, wow, this slow pace of life, it allows me to appreciate so much more. And I'm seeing blessings on blessings and blessings, like everything happening for a reason. And I covered about how, like, yeah, like with the car situation, I remember that being broken into and taking an external thing away from me. So like the things
for those
that we
don't
done,
remember, her makeup bag was stolen when her car was broken in.
Yeah, this is the only thing that was taken. And at that time, I was diving into the self-love work, the internal investment, and I was challenged with the question of, well, who is it for? And that's another question. What, are you doing this for the internal or external? Like, who is this for? Because if it's not for your internal, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
If it's for the external, is it for you or is it for someone else? Is it to be seen by someone else and liked and loved and followed, you know, at all kinds of capacities, you know? So like, yeah. And we just did an in-person workshop for someone about rooting your values, right? And so we did a lot of internal work. Hi, Pablo from Los Angeles. Oh, thanks for hopping on. But yeah, and so I'm feeling so grateful, because when we dove deep into the values, you know, she did in our workshop, she does a meditation, so I get to benefit from the meditations. And oh man, and I told myself, like, man, as long as I get a grip of these values that I have, that's discovered from the internal work, man, I don't have anything to lose. I don't have anything to lose, and just feeling so confident and so clear in that, and like with peace with that. Like, you know, what would my world look like if I stuck to my values? If I stuck to my values. And I will tell you what I'm experiencing right now from investing, from the internal investments. I'm seeing my family healing, which I would have never thought I would see. What? Family healing together? What is going on? And this whole entire time, I've just been like, you know what? The only control that I have is my own internal growth, you know? And I'm telling you, energy,
influences
the universal laws. Yeah, like it starts emanating, and you know, you start to become this mirror for people, or you start to really attract, and the universe will see this and align to your world with that. You know, so that is something that I would like for everyone to take home today. Like, imagine what will happen when you invest in your internal. There's so much of you. There's so much answers. There's so much wisdom in there. Like for me, I have the wisdom now that, you know what, as I need to be in safe spaces. That's something that I really value. And if I am holding on to that, then that means I'm valuing myself. That means I'm respecting myself. That means that I value acceptance. I challenge myself to understand versus judge, right? Like there's so much in holding that as one of my values, like being in safe spaces and providing safe spaces for other people to be themselves. Thank you for the super heart, Pablo. Yeah. What is your takeaway from doing your internal and seeing that, I guess, the universe matching up with that? Like as you continue to heal and invest in your internal work with your emotions, with your spiritual self, with your mental self, like what have you seen align up in your life?
Well, the
in the external life, right?
In the external.
Yeah.
The first thing, obviously, that comes to mind for me is relationships and the quality of relationships. And, you know, we've all dated for looks in the beginning of our journey, right? We just want to be with the cutest one.
Oh my God.
We're like, you are the cutest one, and that's where my desire is, and I want to be with you, and I'm going to like morph myself to hopefully be loved by you, you know, because you're just so dang externally cute.
I love that.
Like we've totally done that, right? I've done that. And so a lot of my journey has been that. But like the more I invest internally, the more that I understand that in order to like really experience love with someone, I need someone that has a very strong character. And that's on the inside. And like, we can't ask for something that we don't have. We can't be matched by something that we aren't yet. So, you know, strengthening and developing my character as my priority as someone who is on the road to like calling in love in my life, healthy, longevity, beautiful, powerful love, you know, that's just like where I'm at now. So, and you know, I have to catch myself. I have to catch myself thinking that I need to be more attractive in some way, or that if I have this certain aesthetic, then I'm going to be more lovable. But it's like, not to the types that I want to be with. The types that I want to be with are going to be really called to my spirit and my heart and my, you know, my compassion and my love and my frequency.
Totally. And you were sharing something with me this morning where you saw something come up as soon as you recognize, like, you know what, externally is not as fulfilling. I need to like continue and go deeper in my internal work. So like, yeah, like what popped up? What popped up?
Yeah. So one of my favorite spiritual teachers is Ram Dass. And I listened to the podcast that is like archival footage and talks of his because he's passed on. And so there's like a really beautiful foundation that preserves his work and shares his work and is like always creating gorgeous content. And he has a lot of people in his community that work very closely with him that are continuing to spread his messages. And, you know, anyways, I was listening to this podcast after I was having this whole awakening of like, all right, I've done good on the external and like at capacity for how much I have to invest in that emotionally, physically, resourcefully, you know, financially. And so then I was like listening to this podcast and they were like, we have an 8-week course of Ram Dass. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is exactly what I need. It's just like meditation, yoga, talks, community exercises that are really going to anchor me into the internal work in a way that's like structured and supported and guided by, you know, one of the teachers that I love and trust the most.
Love it. And I love
things just drop in.
Things just drop in. Things will literally
as soon as you figure out like what you're like, oh, I need to shift a little bit here. And then it's just like, here we are.
Yes.
Here you go.
Yeah, here we are. Another thing that's coming up for me also is just this like, that concept with this, the experience of like, we want to change the situations that we're in, that's in front of us. We want to leave it. We want to change it. We want to like just continue to chase these things so we could just continue to hold on to these like external things that just gives us so much validation. And right, it's just so wildly seen. It's just so widely seen. So like, yeah, it's like training your mind to not want things so quickly.
Yeah.
And when you invest the internal, what will start to happen is like you experience the journey, you experience what process looks like, you experience what patience looks like. And when when it happens, like let's just say I had a really bad day, or like maybe I was really triggered. I'll say that I was really triggered by something that my mom was saying, right? And I just want to fix that right away. I just want to, man, I just wish my mom could just be more like this. Right, that's something like, you know, you just want to change that. You just, so you like you get aggressive and you call that person out. Like it's very quick to change the external. And the times where I chose to not say anything because I know that I'm coming from a place of hurt because I'm triggered, and I choose to, okay, be quiet and go wash the dishes instead, you know, or like, you know what, let me go stretch. Let me let my mom know that like, hey, like, I'm feeling at capacity to talk to you right now. Can I go on a jog and then we'll come back to this? Every time when I chose like the long road, like the internal, it's for my internal, right? Like, let me go and process. And then I come back, boom, I have such more of a safe, loving connection with my mom. And now we're able to flow with our conversation.
Absolutely.
So it's like, there's the fulfilling, there's the fulfillment that I'm looking for. And so now I'm investing in myself to be able to invest in a way that has long-term results with my mom.
Yeah.
When I just want to like argue with her all the time, tell her that she's wrong and blah, 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 my thoughts and this like that, it causes more of a block.
Yeah.
And it just continues a cycle.
Yeah.
So this experience will pay off.
Plus, like what you're describing, this process, it's like the immediate reaction is to project, right? Like, you're wrong, you're triggering, I need to fix you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go internal and you're like, let me just like actually take some space, you know, you're really feeling into like, okay, like what is this bringing up for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the sore spot here? What do I need to look at? What do I need to feel? What do I need to own so that when you are coming to back, you know, you're taking ownership and responsibility. And then you can have a really loving, productive conversation.
Yes, where it's not about me being triggered, right? It's like, you know what? I understand where my mom is coming from. Let me come in with that. Because that's who I am. A safe space, providing a safe space, which understanding is in there, accepting is in there, right? If it's not that, we are not creating a safe space here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So many golden gems when we choose to stop, pause, and go do the internal work. Go to the internal. You want to change your external? Let's go internal. Let's go internal. Another thing that's coming up with me really quickly before we head off is like, it's kind of like with, hold on. I was just losing it. Oh yeah. Just how we want to look. Just back to the makeup, and the more that I've invested in myself, like, what is it? I am wanting to, how would I say it? Feel good about how I look and accepting about how I look. And like, for an example, I want to be healthier and make sure I drink more water because my whole life I've been wearing cover-up makeup to cover up the certain blemishes or like pimples or like stuff on my face. And I wasn't even taking good care of my skin, you know? So like from doing the internal
work takes care of everything.
And I'm starting to see a difference on my face a lot from just continuing to be bare and drinking more water. I mean, that's still a journey, but like the times where I saw that I've been consistent just in a week, I literally, like, my skin just felt so much different, so much more youthful. And, you know, we're trying to like cover up our wrinkles and all this stuff. It's quite an amazing experience. It's an amazing experience. And you get to see who appreciates your internal and not just be about your external. You know, like the common thing when people be, oh, you're so beautiful. And that's all they're talking about, how beautiful you are just because of how you look on the inside, versus like paying attention to the people who appreciate like the growth that you've done, like how you've been showing up for people. You know, like that feels, if you feel the heart tingling there, like it feels more like, oh, well, thank you. And this allows us to have a better like heart filter too.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
love this thing about like the internal versus the external compliment.
Mm,
Because whenever I get an external compliment,
mhm.
my initial feeling is like, but like this is all gonna go.
Yeah,
Like, this is all
and
gonna change, and this
thank
is
you,
all gonna
but
go. Thank you.
yeah.
But also like this isn't anything I can hang on to. But when I get an internal compliment, I feel like, wow, this is like a part of my being that's being seen and recognized, and this I get to keep. Like through this lifetime and the next lifetimes, and like develop and grow, you know.
Mhm.
So there's something about like the internal seeing of one another is just so much more lasting and true.
Mhm.
And you just feel that so much of like, wow, thanks for like seeing my being, my essence.
Right? We crave being seen, but we do all this external work, the external work to be seen. And that's temporary.
Yeah.
That's temporary as well. So it kind of makes me think of like, yeah, if I really want to like provide that experience for somebody, like, let me see like what kind of work they've been doing versus, oh my God, girl, you're so gorgeous. You're so gorgeous, you know? Yeah, because like when people have complimented on my outer stuff, like there's an inner voice in me that says, but I'm so much more than that, you know? Like I feel like an inner child's talking, like, but I'm so much more than that.
Because it starts when we're children. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, way more than that. So yeah, that is our talk for today. The talk for today. So very two simple words, very two simple concepts, life-changing application. You know, so simple. Let's look at what we've been doing internally. Listen to what we've been doing for externally, you know, like that will give you the answers of where you're lacking and what's missing, right? You want to be happy, you want peace, you want better relationships, you want to feel better about yourself. Let's take a look at like what we've been investing in. Like that's a T-chart exercise right there. Put internal, external right now and see what actions have you been doing that reflect that. You will see one will weigh more than the other. And then you can see maybe that's why you feel the way that you do. Just maybe, right? Okay.
So for more internal support, we do a meditation every week. It's all inner work. We do a monthly workshop. We're going to be announcing our May workshop in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So we're really here to help support the inner work. And that was my takeaway from receiving the course. I'm like, oh, there are, like, this isn't necessarily, inner work is not alone work all the time. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to always be alone work. You can do inner work in community. And that's what we're really here to support and hold space for.
Yeah. So we'll see you soon. If you're not following us already on Instagram, for those of you on Haps or on Facebook, I mean, just put Self-Effexes. You will see us on everything. That's where you can find us. And selfeffexes.com is our website if you want to learn more about the workshops and the meditations that we do. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you soon. See you next week. Bye.